Hello and welcome to Fin Business. Today we are going to talk about life insurance sector of India, and we are going to talk with the dynamic CEO of IDBI Federal Life Insurance Company, Vighnesh Shahane. Sir, welcome to Fin Business.
Thanks, Anmol.
So there are many things I would like to learn from you. If you compare life insurance industry of India with global markets, where are we today? 15 years back, IRDA gave approval, the government gave permission for private companies to come into the market. The idea was to increase the penetration, but if you look at the penetration, not more than 5-6%. So it's not, the goal still is not achieved. So if you look at the global benchmark, where we are today?
I think it's the 10th largest insurance market in the world, and I think the 5th largest insurance market in terms of volumes in Asia. So I think there's no doubt about it that India is a huge untapped insurance market. Penetration levels, like you rightly mentioned, are very low. For the last 2-3 years, there's been a steady growth in the insurance industry. I think the insurance industry is well poised today. I think insurance players who took a defensive view a few years back and were waiting for the regulations to settle down are now getting aggressive, and that's evidenced in the growth rates. And I think the next few years are going to be heady again for the insurance industry.
When you say that about next few years, what kind of growth do you actually envisage in next few years, specifically for life insurance sector? What kind of changes do you envisage?
The industry has grown at a CAGR of 15% in the last 3 or 4 years. I think I shouldn't see any reason why it cannot continue that trajectory or increase the trajectory. I am not one to predict too far in the future. I just like to take every year as it comes. But I think the optimism around the life insurance industry today is like it has never been before.
So yes, the optimism is in the life insurance industry was never before, and one of the major reasons is also that the companies are getting listed.
Correct.
And the market, the corporates, the whole industry and every sector is looking at insurance very positively and optimistically. Do you see changes in the perception specifically when you deal with the market now for the life insurance?
Listing definitely gets a lot of, as you've seen in those 3 or 4 listings, you get a lot of visibility. It ensures a greater deal of governance, transparency, compliance, which is all good for the industry. A lot of investors would like to be a part of the growth story. India has a low penetration. India has a huge protection gap, and I think a lot of investors would like to be a part of the growth story. And listing has its advantages of, like I just mentioned.
Coming back specifically to IDBI Federal Life Insurance Company, what are the changes you're going to make into the company for next 2 to 3 years? What is the outlook, or how do you envisage IDBI Federal in next 2 to 3 years?
The previous 3 years, we've doubled our GWP. We doubled our GWP in a challenging operating environment. Naturally, I would want to keep that run. Besides top line growth, which is the visible parameter for everybody, we have also done exceedingly well on other parameters. I mean, not too many people know that we have the best persistency, top quartile persistency across all buckets in the private insurance industry. We have the lowest complaint ratio. We have the quickest turnaround times to resolve complaints. We have a claims guarantee. We've accelerated our digital journey. We have best-in-class risk mechanism in place. We truly want to make this a great place to work in for the employees. So along the way, we've had a holistic growth, and our aim is to be, over the next 1 year, 3 years or 5 years, is to add great value to our shareholders, our customers and our employees.
To add that value to your shareholders, what will be the major changes that is expected in IDBI Federal Life Insurance in terms of technology, in terms of innovation, in terms of new business models are going to adopt?
We're investing in technology and digitization, and we've accelerated our journey in both these fronts. We made considerable progress. We were late starters, I must admit, but we have accelerated and made up lost ground. The advantage about starting late, Amol, is that you can learn from the mistakes the others before you made, and you can do things much quicker. The main thing differentiating one company from the other is the people. The products are the same, the processes, the model are the same. It's the people who make a difference. I believe that if you take care of the people, if your employees take care of your customers, and your customers take care of your shareholders.
So you bet on employees more than the technology?
I bet on technology and employees. Employees should be aided by technology. It's a no-brainer that the world is changing. You have to be digital. Your employees are and 75% of our employees are millennials. The millennials defined as people born after 1984. Are you a millennial?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a breed of people who are extremely technology savvy, and they need to be aided by technology to service the customer better.
By any chance, has IDBI Federal Life Insurance thinking on that line to raise some money from the market or going into the market to raise the money? Because many companies are not only going to market to raise the money, but they want to be more accountable. They want to be more,
Like a more
bright future. Yeah.
And it also gives you a lot of visibility.
Exactly.
As of now, there is no such plan of listing, although listing has its clear advantages. And we have been in the business for 10 years. We are fairly compliant, transparent, ethical, and and we have strong governance. We've also had milestones along the way, success milestones. But there are no real plans for listing. It's a shareholder decision, it's a shareholder debate and discussion.
By any chance, are there any exit plans for the shareholders? Because there was a lot of buzz about it that
I think what the shareholders are embarking now is on a journey to discover the value of this company, of this enterprise. They haven't done it for the last 7 or 8 years. And this is what I truly want to tell you. I mean, irrespective of, it's a journey of discovering the value of an investment you made for enterprise.
Looking at these digital changes, looking at whatever the innovation which is happening, perhaps policies will be sold on Facebook. I mean, there are already WhatsApp groups which are selling the policies. You never know what will happen. So, where do you want to see IDBI Federal Life Insurance? Again, if I ask you specifically, in entire digital world after 3-4 years or 5-6 years?
The first thing I would like to mention is that digital and IT is not the purview of a few geniuses in the digital team or the IT team who talk the tech language which nobody else. It has to be a culture across the organization. Yes. It should be in the DNA of every employee that we want to go digital. It can't be the purview of 5 or 10 people who think so and the rest of the employees do not believe it. So that's the first pitfall. You need to be careful. You have to make it a culture. You have to have digital and technology evangelists in your office. 2 is the more progress, the more steps you take ahead in the digital and IT front, the more flanks you're opening on cyber security and risk. And which is a real threat for insurance companies and financial companies today, cyber security. Insurance yet remains an eyeball to eyeball trust game. Yes. There's a whole hell of a lot of work we have to do manually to gain the trust of the customer. It can't be fished away by IT or digital. And like I said, we have a lot of headspace. I think at the end of the day, a person buys insurance from a person because he trusts that person. Okay, and nothing will ever change that. Digital will make the process simpler, faster, more efficient, greater customer experience, all of that. But before we embark on all that, we need to do the basics of insurance right.
Life insurance sector is going through big changes. We were expecting that life insurance companies will list into the market, which is happening right now. And the second big change is in the open architecture. IRD has allowed life insurance companies to go to multiple banks and sell their products. So bancassurance model has been strengthened. You are, in a way, kind of a pioneer because you already have 2 big channels, IDBI Bank and Federal Bank with you. How are you going to utilize, or what is the strategy for the open architecture going ahead right now, since the IRD, the regulator, has already given approvals that okay, now you can go to multiple banks?
Insurance is also not a core product for the bank. It's not a center or plate offering for the bank. So it makes sense for a bank to tap one insurance company and go deep.
Right.
So I think an open architecture, while it was approved I think 18 or 24 months back, has not really taken off in a big way. It's a great step. It gives a lot of choice to the customer. But is it priority for banks? That's a question you need to ask. And I think my personal view is that my personal view is that bank insurance is all about going deep into one relationship with one insurer and one bank.
To use this open architecture going ahead, what are the pain points when it comes to adopting a new bank, hiring a bank as a corporate agent? Because you will have to build a different strategy, because you will have to train the bankers, you will have to train the bank employees to sell your products. And there are pain points because there are a lot of issues also related to bank assurance model, no matter how big that channel is.
Correct.
But if I simply ask you, what are the pain points while adopting this model?
While the common perception is like we have gone deep with the banks, I think we're just scratching at the surface. There are lots more we can do with both IDBI and Federal Bank. They've been great performers and great contributors to our business for the last 10 years, no doubt about that. But I think there's yet a lot more we can do. I think the most important thing about tying up with the bank is a cultural alignment. And we saw that with the 2 partnerships we have. It's an aggregation of many things. Going deep is actually an aggregation of many things. It starts with a cultural alignment. It then starts with a great training program for the bank staff to get them to sell a product which they're not used to selling. It starts with a good, robust reward recognition program, and it also depends a lot from a communication from the top of the bank about how insurance is an essential product is important financial product in the financial planning of any individual. So we got to get the banks aware of all that. You can also use technology to integrate and dig deeper and go deeper. And all this aggregation, all these things help you go deeper in the banking relationship.
Do you find some challenges tying up with some big banks because those banks also have their own promoted insurance company?
That's what I'm saying. Open architecture has not actually taken off. Most of the banks have JVs, have joint ventures, insurance companies. We personally have a problem because we do have a business development team, and we've been chipping away on trying banks as a second or third partner, but it's not top priority for the banks at the moment. I think banks are saddled with a lot of challenges currently, and they would much rather focus on their core challenges than tying up with the second. That's the perception I have.
Will you then go ahead and tie up with small banks, perhaps cooperative banks? Point number one. Point number two, also, if you look at the example of Axis Bank and Max New York Life, Max New York Life gave a stake to Axis Bank, and Axis Bank somehow became a strong corporate agent for a Max New York Life Insurance, and there were many other companies who were thinking on the same model. Do you think this kind of model can be a big booster for the insurance industry?
Bancassurance is going to remain a dominant channel for the life insurance industry for many years to come. There's no question about that. So I think companies who have bank partners are better placed than companies who don't have bank. They're showing a better growth rate, they're showing a more healthier growth rate, they have a low cost platform to do business. So it always helps for an insurance company to have a good bank as a distribution partner at least. So while the big banks, like you rightly said, all have their own JVs or all have current partnerships, definitely there is merit in targeting smaller cooperative banks, rural banks, nationalized banks in some form or the other, and hope that relationship grows. But bank assurance, to my mind, is a dominant channel and is going to stay dominant for some time to come.
Great, Vignesh. Thank you so much for those insights. It was really wonderful talking to you.
Always a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. So that was Vighnesh Shahane, who has given us a lot of information about open architecture, banking insurance, and how the digital innovation will lead life insurance companies going ahead in future. Thank you so much for watching.